relativity trap, why your choices aren't really yours. Every day, we make countless decisions: what to eat, which product to buy, who to vote for, even who to date. We believe these choices stem from our personal preferences, logic, or rational judgment. But in reality, many of these decisions are shaped by a powerful psychological phenomenon, the relativity trap, coined and explored in Dan Ariely's Predictably Irrational. The relativity trap explains how our brains don't evaluate options in absolute terms, but rather in comparison to other available choices. We don't know how much something is worth until we see it next to something else. This comparison-based thinking often leads us into making irrational decision choices that aren't really our own. Let's explore how this works in our daily lives and why understanding it is key to making better, more independent decisions. The illusion of choice. Imagine you're shopping for a smartwatch. You find 3 models. Model A, basic features, 150. Model B, more features, 250. Model C, same as Model B but includes a premium strap, 275. In dating apps, people are often judged based on relative attractiveness. Someone may seem more appealing just because they're shown next to someone else who's less attractive. Ariely did an experiment where participants rated a person as more attractive when shown next to a slightly less attractive version of the same person. This also happens in job interviews. A candidate might appear stronger if they're interviewed after weaker candidates. We constantly compare and contrast, even when it has nothing to do with the person's actual quality. Why? This makes us irrational. The relativity trap leads us to focus on differences, not value. We might buy a slightly better product because it's only $25 more, but forget whether we need it at all. We might choose jobs, houses, or partners not because they're best for us, but because they look better compared to something else. This type of irrational thinking is dangerous. It pulls us away from making decisions based on our real needs and values. Instead, we chase illusions created by context, scarcity, and urgency. Add fuel to the fire. Most people wouldn't initially spend $275 on a watch, but when they compare Model B and C, suddenly Model C seems like a better deal, only $25 more for an extra feature. This is relativity in action. Model C only seems appealing relative to Model B alone. It might not seem worth it. Ariely calls Model B a decoy, an option intentionally placed to make another option look more attractive. This is how marketers trick us into choosing what they want us to pick. We think we're being smart, but we're just responding to the comparison game. We don't know what we want until we see it in context. Humans struggle to evaluate value in a vacuum. For instance, if you see a hotel room for $400 per night, it may seem expensive, but if you're shown a $700 room and then the $400 one, the cheaper one now feels like a bargain even though it's still expensive. Restaurants do this too. A high-priced item is often placed on the menu not to be sold, but to make the second most expensive item seem more reasonable. We rarely choose the most expensive option, but it helps frame others as better deals. Comparison in social life. The relativity trap isn't just about money or products. It affects how we see people, relationships, and even ourselves. Marketers often combine relativity with scarcity or urgency. Limited time offer or only 3 left tricks your brain into thinking this is the best among what's available, and I must act now. You're comparing your current opportunity against an imagined future where the deal is gone. Again, your choice isn't purely yours. How to escape the trap. Escaping the relativity trap isn't easy. It's wired into how our brains operate. But awareness is the first step. Here are a few strategies. Zoom out. Before making a decision, take a step back. Ask, would I want this if I hadn't seen the alternative? Define what you really want. Clarify your priorities before comparison distorts them. If you're buying a phone for battery life, don't get swayed by camera specs. Beware of decoys. If a third option makes another seem better, ask yourself if you'd want it on its own. Think long term. Will this choice still make sense a week or a month from now? Or is it only appealing in the moment? Relativity in politics and media. Politicians and media also use relativity to manipulate opinions. A policy might seem reasonable only when compared to an extreme alternative. News channels might present two opposing guests, one very radical and one to make the moderate one seem more appealing, even if their views are flawed. This tactic shapes public opinion. People think they're making informed choices, but they're being steered by how information is framed. Relativity and self-worth. Relativity also affects our self-esteem. We compare ourselves to peers, influencers, or colleagues. Someone else's highlight reel makes us feel behind. This leads to anxiety, envy, and poor decisions driven by insecurity. Understanding that our brains are constantly comparing can help us detach our self-worth from these illusions. The relativity trap is powerful because it operates silently. It doesn't force you, it guides you. It makes certain options look better, more attractive, or more necessary than they actually are. But once you recognize it, you can pause, evaluate, and choose based on what truly matters. To unit what looks better in a carefully curated comparison. In a world full of choices, mastering this insight could be the difference between living reactively and living intentionally. The next time you face a decision, ask yourself, am I comparing or am I choosing?